Reap the Harvest live. We are back in the mix. Matt and Pat, the All-Stars. Got the kids crying in the background, but you know what? I'm thankful. Got a beautiful, healthy family. Whenever you hear the kids screaming in the background, you know they're healthy.
Yeah.
And you know they're minutes away from a toy or a treat that'll make them even happier than they already are, even if they're screaming. So we're going to hit the intro. What were you going to say?
I was like, that's a real thing, man. Being a parent.
It is real. It's like if they're too quiet, it's
It's a
like
great gratitude.
there might be something wrong. Anyway, hit the intro. We'll be right back. Man, you guys
Boom.
groove
I love
there?
going live.
Feeling that?
I love it.
Oh,
I love
man,
it.
that's a beautiful thing.
Dude, I wanted to do a little revisit today. Gratitude's always something good to think about and revisit, but it's tough when you're put into a situation like, I mean, we had a rough month this month. It was crazy. How many contracts fell out? We're trying to piecemeal a few back together. It's crazy when you get punched in the face. We had that plan. We had the momentum going. We got punched in the face this month, and we rolled on a few new resources too. And so you're like, oh, you got a little bit more overhead, and then you're like, oh my gosh, like you just roll on the overhead, and now you get punched in the face again. So, I had to rethink. I had to visit. I did kind of do the thing we always talk about in the 1% pivot mindset, right? How are we going to pivot? And then also, like, I met with my team this morning, is how do we create that we get a little bit more creative in our business model to create a little bit more momentum. And so we were just kind of a game plan, and I cast it out a vision, and my team's taking it right now to gain momentum going into the new year. So we're planning right now, you know. And then I just went back to the perspective of, if I lost it all, right? If I lost it all, could I still be grateful? And that was going through my mind this morning. I was listening to a few podcasts. As many of you know, I dive into a lot of podcasts. I'm a big John Maxwell guy, and diving into some of these things. And there was this guy, I forget his last name, but his name was Nick, and he calls himself a wire walker. And this guy, he's a legacy of a family of about 8 people. And he literally walks on wires. He's in the entertainment industry. So he like active volcano. So he'll tight wired across an active volcano. He'll do a bunch of different stuff. That's like tough to like wrap my mind around on how like fear, such attention to detail, because you're walking across like an active volcano, or he practices in 90-mile-an-hour winds and can still walk a wire. So I'm thinking about these things as far as like
pretty intense
how he's able to do that and keep a mindset of like, you know, to the path, right? To like keep moving forward, right? And but there was one point in time where his entire family was walking, all 8 of them. And one of them slipped off the wire, and the entire, like, was one slips, all of them go. Like, there's no holding. Like, it just, if somebody like adjusts the wire, like how are you supposed to be like nimble enough to like grab onto it? So he actually caught the wire, but his sister fell to the ground. I think she broke every single bone in her face. They were saying. So how are you grateful in those circumstances? Like, it's tough to identify. I'm thinking in terms of business, how I got punched in the face, and how you still keep momentum going forward. Like, you constantly need to still momentum. And so that's what I'm pondering with right now. I don't know the answer. Like, but you know, you're looking for the next win, you know, the next opportunity. But one main thing that came out of the podcast even this morning was you got to constantly keep moving forward. And I thought that was really, really pivotal. is you can't become stagnant, right? I can't be somber. I can't. And we've been, I mean, there was a number of obstacles this past month. It's, what we find, just to kind of go off on a rabbit trail a little bit, in commercial multifamily, because that's the arena we're in. We raise capital for these. Is that this is one of the part of the reasons why, I don't love participating in northern states, even though we will invest on good deals. We'll definitely take an investment in the Midwest. I do like the Midwest, so we are looking for opportunities. But a couple things happened even this month because it's cold. People go inside. They're getting less vitamin D, less energy, and they're doing some crazy stuff. Like we just had a few residents that just it's like, why would you even think about doing that? And so we ran into a situation where literally a toilet was just leaking down into the unit below. And you're like, what? Like, why would you try to stuff something like that down the toilet? It doesn't make sense, right? People will do crazy stuff when they're locked inside in the press. But that's why I love Florida and I love investing in the Southeast. So kind of pivot that towards a real estate objective, but like the attitude of gratitude. Just being ever present, moving forward, but even present what I have, what I'm super grateful for. So we actually started incorporating in our morning meetings with my team, but it's identifying what you're grateful for. I go on grateful walks. We've talked about this, and I know I talk a lot about gratitude, but it really is finding the perspective in that element of joy in a season of, man, like really a lot of discomfort. It's super uncomfortable. Just rolled on a resource. We're building out new kind of strategies, and now we're like rebuilding some momentum that we had lost in a month, and we thought we were gaining a lot of steam, and we kind of lost some of that, and we got to rebuild it back up. So it's one of the, from just learning from the podcast, it's like you got to keep leaning in, right? Whether the momentum is there, you got to make the momentum happen. You got to find that momentum, and still, even in the season of like maybe where you see a little bit of darkness, what can you potentially be grateful for? And gratefulness sometimes is hard to achieve and hard to see when you have smoke and mirrors. Everything seems super foggy, right? And it's not super transparent. And I had to like sit down and reflect of like, man, what am I grateful for? I was meeting with a group of guys this morning, and I was running downtown. So I was running, and then I was going to go meet these group of guys, and I get a call from my wife, and it's my baby screaming in the background. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, I either can meet with these guys, or I can go pick up my baby real quick and just bring my baby to the meeting. And I had to make a slight adjustment, right? I went home, I picked up my baby because she was screaming and I want my wife to sleep. And then I literally just took her to the meeting this morning. I took my baby. And she just chilled with me, and I had a good time. We talked about life, and I just had to make that adjustment, but I had to keep moving forward. Right. And so just that activity, that momentum creates opportunities, and with opportunities usually creates it's the separator. Right. And we talked about this is like the season, right? The season of separation. I definitely want to create that momentum now. I was talking to my buddy the other day. He created this awesome cold calling business, and he's going to give it to people, but he was going to wait till January 1st. I'm like, why wait till January 1st? Like, what's the point of waiting?
Now, bro? Right. Get them started early.
Let's get it going now. Get a few clients in play, and boom, let's hit the game running. And he's awesome, man. He's doing some great stuff. But I'm like, why not start now, right? Where's the opportunity now? And what's it going to matter if you start in 17 days? So that's just something weighing heavy on me. Is number one, identifying an attitude of gratefulness, and no matter what season I'm in. It's tough right now. It's definitely tough. You're like, oh my gosh, man, we had like pretty much $70,000 on the books, and then boom, gone. Like what? Like, and then you're bringing in overhead. It's just gone. And then, but is that what makes me? You know what I mean? Is that what's going to determine my level of like happiness? I mean, that's one thing I even wrote down in a journal that we're going to be posting out loud in my series, my journaling out loud. But it's identifying those seasons, right? That money moves. Like you need money to move. So like, what are you creating? How are you creating like new ancillary ways to create money, right? How are you gonna you need to create like at the end of the day, money is not going to be your dictator of happiness, but it is ultimately going to determine of like how many things you can do, right? It
It
creates more
depends on a lot of
opportunities.
outcomes. Right.
It creates a ton of opportunities just to like build relationships with people, and I'm constantly building new relationships with people. So like there's got to be that money piece, right? The accelerator of like where are new revenue sources for you. But the other piece is really it comes down to of no matter where those sources come from, where can you identify? Because there's going to be hills and valleys. Where can you identify level of gratefulness? And so I really had to sit down and I had to like, man, recalibrate and focus back on, okay, what am I grateful for? What opportunities have I had today that are tangible? And breathing is one of them. Breathing is so big, and just having the ability to breathe. I have my hands and my feet with me. Not everyone does, but you also can identify other things if you don't have your hands and feet. Like what other opportunities of gratefulness can you see right through the lens? Maybe it's my caretaker. Maybe it's a just somebody that's in my life, or my wife, or my relationship with God, or my relationship to whatever I believe in. It's all those things kind of built in of what I can truly focus on. And if I can focus on that element of, man, I'm extremely grateful to be in this season of my life, even if it's extremely difficult. Like that's what's growing me right now. It's, you ask anyone that has been, there's people that have been light years more successful than me. I just choose to put things on a podcast, right? But it's one of those things where you see your greatest growth in times like this, and that
Oh yeah,
greatest growth is going
absolutely.
to be when you got the most resistance against you, and you got to push through it, and see where things take you. And that's just been something this month that's just been, man, getting pounded from different angles. It's left and a right, and then a jab and a right hook built in. But that's just the way life comes sometimes, and how you're going to be cognizant of it. Just be grateful for the season that you're in, and then ultimately plow through it with some quality decision making.
Well,
But
and it's important
what's
to
your take,
remember
Pat?
the old guru statements always seem to ring true the more I hear them, and that's just that, like, you know, you see girls on Instagram, and they're like, pressure makes diamonds. They're right.
They're
That's
right.
they're 100% correct. They're 100%. Now, women love diamonds. Now, so do guys. They're sparkly and they're beautiful, but they
Mhm.
aren't always that way. They are forged into existence, just like anything else. You don't
Right.
get in better shape by not working your body really, really hard and burning up certain parts of your shoulders or your arms or your legs and feeling tired and warped and walking around the house like you got spaghetti legs. The same thing with your brain. If you're working your brain, you're doing editing, or you're practicing this, or you're practicing real estate deals, you're on the phone 10 hours a day trying to get your first deal, whether it's landscaping or real estate or any of these things. When you put in that work, you raise the capacity of what you're capable of. If you're only putting in 1 hour, you can't possibly expect to get, you know, massive results from just 1 hour. There's people that put in years and years and years and years and years of 8, 10, 12 hours a day. And
Mhm.
at some point in anything, this is in anything, marriage, fitness, business, mental, physical, finances, it doesn't matter. All of these different areas go together. I know people that had millions and millions and millions of dollars, but they're unhealthy physically, They lost their marriage and they didn't know how to communicate with their kids. All they had was money at the end of the day. Now, you got to have a roof over your head. So you better make some money somehow.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that being thankful for the opportunity that you have in this country to do so many different things to pay the bills this is the last stand of freedom on the entire earth. People will try and convince you that it's not. Those people, in my opinion, are wrong. There is no better place. You don't see people leaving America to go to this place, that place, or the other place. They all come here. Why? Because you have a better opportunity here. There's more you should have more gratitude that you were born here than anywhere else on the planet. Does that make us the greatest argument thing? Maybe that we can go a little too far with the whole America is the greatest thing sometimes. Okay. I'm sure that there's measurements in certain categories where we're not. That's just logical thinking. But I always wake up with, man, my ancestors came all the way over here from Ireland with no money and dug graves. They were grave diggers and bricklayers so that I could have the opportunity to be something that I want to be. Because I guarantee you, great grandfather, whatever his name was, didn't want to do that. I'm sure that his dream was not to be a bricklayer or a grave digger in America, but he did what he had to do, right, to pave the way for future generations of his family so that they could go out and live their dreams and be successful. And so it's important to remember that we have so much opportunity going into 2021. We are in the prime time golden age of digital. I mean, there's people closing wholesale deals just over the phone and an internet connection. Speaking of real estate, that, I do marketing for, that don't even need to leave their house. They're closing 20 deals a month.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's existed for that long. I know Mark Evans was doing it. He's going to be coming on the show. Mark Evans was one of the first people doing wholesale deals like that, because I remember talking to him about it, and he said he had a Zach Morris phone back in the day. He had a big, huge cell phone like Zach Morris on the beach, and he was closing wholesale deals. But I still think it's kind of a new school tactic in the sense of everybody doing it. Right.
Yeah.
And so there's so many things, man. I mean, we could go for hours talking about having an attitude of, man, I got a chance to be successful, or man, I have the freedom to make as much money as I want, or man, I can build anything I want today. I think it's an important attitude to have. I can change my body today. I can change my mind today. I can change my finances today. I can pack up if I live one place and move to a completely different place, because I'm given the opportunity to do that here. A lot of stuff to be thankful for, especially going into the holidays. I mean, when we were kids, I don't know if I'm off on a tangent. If I am, that's fine, because what I'm saying is true. But when I was a kid, we used to, am I? Good. We'd go to this church every week, the college church. It's downtown. It's by St. Louis University, where my sister went to college now. Yeah. But when we were kids, we used to give out these like packages, and we'd have this big Christmas celebration for homeless people every single year. So we'd serve food and eat food and give packages, homeless packages to, people that came in to this event every single year. Gloves and toothpaste and soap and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know why, but I don't do it anymore. I probably should. You know what I mean? But I never really had to. Well, I don't live in St. Louis anymore, number one. Number two, it's just, why don't I do, why not? I was raised to think that way and to give. And so maybe it's important that I think like that more today than I did yesterday. So I've never had to get my whole point is I've never had to get like a package of gloves or a package of toothpaste. And I've lived in my van before, but I didn't need toothpaste. I found a way right?
You found it.
So I
You
think it's
found it.
important to remember, right? I mean, it's like I grew up pretty well off, so that's not a secret. But it's important to remember that there's a lot of people out there. It's getting cold outside. People don't have money or business or the
Mhm.
internet or computers or video cameras or any of this kind of stuff. And so it's important to remember that if you do have an advantage and an opportunity and an obligation to use all of that to be successful in 2021. But
Yeah,
you're
it's
not gonna be successful if you're thinking or sitting around thinking, "Oh, I need more, I need more, I need more, I need more." You need to use what you got to be more successful in whatever area it is. Resourcefulness always beats resources, in my opinion, because there's always somebody with all kinds of resources, but they're not thinking about how to use it. They're only
yeah,
thinking about how do I get more resources instead of being resourceful. So that comes
yeah.
from
No, I agree.
if
I
you're
agree
not
with that.
thankful for any of those things, not thankful for who paved the way for you, you're not thankful for what you've got or how far you've come. I guarantee you there's somebody who listens to this. It's like, man, I've come a long way since 5 years ago. I know I have. I was sleeping in my van not that long ago, playing on the side of the road in California with no money.
Hmm.
None. The guys that ran the little sushi rice place used to just give me the sushi. They didn't even charge me for it because I'd make up songs about their sushi thing to send people to their station. So, my life's a whole lot better than it was. The weather was nice out there, but
Yeah,
my life was not that great out there, if I had to be 100% honest. So there's a lot of things that you got to be honest with yourself about. If you want to be thankful for stuff, you got to be thankful for the good and for the bad. Can't just look at all the good things and be like, "Oh man, this is so great." You got to look at all the things that didn't go so well maybe and you're like, "Oh man, I'm thankful that's not happening anymore." Or if it is, be thankful that it is happening because you still have an opportunity to change it. So, there's my
yeah,
rant. There's my rant for the day, my tangent.
yeah. No, it's good stuff though. I
Explaining
mean,
myself, I could probably go way out of my way for others in certain areas of my life, and so that's something I should be accountable on too. Because when we were kids, when we were forced to do it, and it felt good, dude. Felt good. I
yeah.
really enjoyed doing that, but how'd that happen? When you're not being
How?
forced to do something, are you still doing it anyway? You know?
Yeah.
Do
Well,
you
I got
still do it when you're not forced to by somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, what I do, and I think this is the kind of the main thing and the main takeaway, because we can say all day, like you got to be grateful, right? And it
Well,
doesn't
yeah.
matter what the season you're in or whatever it is. But what I've determined, like that you legitimately need to, what I've started doing, obviously, and I need to be a lot more consistent with it. But like journaling is a big thing, right? And just like identifying your thoughts and where your thoughts are being created from. And a lot of time those thoughts are not real, right? They just like they don't even exist. So I know one thing Ed Milet does is he physically audibly talks to himself when he hears a lie, because you got to protect your reticular activating system. That's a big thing, and that changes the level of truth. But so I did this journal. We haven't put this journal on Instagram yet, but it's good because I wanted to like display my mindset on how my mindset was being curated and how I was protecting that. So I was like, there's a side of me that I don't like. It's the part of me that gives me anxiety. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people struggle with anxiety. I do in life, and it's not just myself. We're constantly seeking the next thing, right? I'm never like completely present. I'm seeking what can I do more? What can I do? How can I, in what ways can we be creative?
I'm the
This
same
is the
way.
difference. This is the differentiator. I'm always looking for the next deal. And when hiccup happens, I handle them pretty well, but it puts me in a space where I have to double down and get more, right? I'm always trying to
Mhm.
get more. The reality is that's a scarcity mindset. And I got to be present with that. I got to know that. And it's not bad to want more. It's not bad to want more, right? However, when more occupies the presence of gratefulness, the
Mhm.
more creates dark cloud and permeates the attitude. I think that's huge. The more creates a dark cloud and permeates the attitude. Gratefulness is such a key component of joy, regardless of circumstance. As I ponder my thoughts, and gratefulness can be identifying or controlling even the smallest of thoughts. So, the way I interpret, and the one thing that can be done every single day, right, is you can have a list of affirmations that you cycle through, or you can have a gratefulness journey that changes every day. But so I'm so blessed to be able to breathe today. I love breathing patterns because deep breaths typically people don't even know how to breathe. It's insane how you can actually change a thought process and change an attitude just through deep breaths. I'm so blessed to wake up and have life today. I'm so blessed to make good decisions today. I'm so blessed to have legs to walk today. I'm so blessed to experience marriage today. That's one key thing to me, because I always want to be abreast and astute of like where my marriage is. Like, is it going off kilter? Because we got to be able to cognitively identify, hey, am I focusing on stuff that I shouldn't be focusing on, right? I'm so grateful for my life experiences and my family. I'm so grateful for true friendship. I'm so grateful for learning. Love learning. Actually, right after this podcast, I'm going to pick up a few books. I'm so grateful for raising children in the likeness of Jesus. I'm so grateful to be an entrepreneur, right? Staying focused and having a grateful attitude is the separation between a good day and a bad day. Bad days tend to become a little less relevant, and because the good will always outweigh the bad. See the good in people and see the good in yourself. Dude, doing those things is amazing, of just how you're able to articulate.
That was great. Yeah, and it makes my rant sound more solid, because that's right along the lines of what I said. I mean, it's the little things like my legs work fine, or I have the ability to work out this morning. It's not necessarily the fact that I probably should. It's the fact that there are a lot of people that would be like, man, I wish I had a little studio room I could work out in with the video system and make some videos. I'd do all of that if I had those things. Sometimes we don't think about what we actually do have, and how somebody else would be so thankful for those things, when maybe we might look at it and not think it's a big deal. It is a big deal.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, I just want to emphasize, there's definitely takeaways from this one. I know it's a revisit of something we talk about, and it's a common topic, the attitude of gratitude, but gratitude has a healing, like a physical healing to it. And it's just amazing to be present with a level of gratitude, no matter the season you're in. Because I know positively, there's definitely people that are in a different season than I am. I met with a lady the other day. She's getting her house foreclosed on, and there's just a ton of like brokenness going on. But it's, how do you even find gratitude in like that season, right? When you've really been punched. And I would recommend just like a couple things, right? Making small changes every day. So whether it be just a small little change, and it could be just changing your breathing in the morning, or saying, hey, I'm going to be grateful for 2 things before 9 a.m. I'm just going to vocally articulate that I'm grateful for those. And then maybe just, put a journal in play, write some stuff down, where you can reposition your mind and retarget of like, hey, this is the direction I'm going in, because I don't want to move 10 steps back. I want to just move maybe a step forward, or even 2 steps forward that day. So I know we talk about this, but literally sometimes it's writing it down or vocalizing it every day, out of your mouth. But they're extremely, extremely important things to do every single day, because I had a feeling, even yesterday, my mind was going in a bad spot. I'm like, why am I even thinking that way? Like, I need to think this way, and just being cognizant of where that shift needs to take place. So, and every time going forward, I'm telling you, this is something that we're going to put in play. I know a lot of these podcasters out in the world have these mottos. I do have a motto, and I don't know who I got it from, but I definitely got it from somebody. But I'm going to say it. Life happens for us, not to us. And when we articulate that and vocalize that to our life happens for us. Don't let life happen to you, because we want to be active, we want to be present, and then we want to be progressing. So let's take care of business today. Be grateful. Gave you 2 things that you can actively do. You either can vocalize it to yourself every time you get up in the morning. You want to be grateful for maybe 2 things if you want to make it super easy. What's up, Danny? Thanks for listening in, brother. Or you can have a journal, write it down. That's those are things that you absolutely can do that every single day that are really going to permeate that
Journal
attitude towards
helps. I do
grateful.
that. I have a little software system I use, and it works. 5
Okay.
goals, 3 things I'm grateful for. How am I dealing with trigger moments? Like you said, you can have a moment that either sets you off for the whole day, or you have a plan in place, a word in place, a thought in place that you can go to get away from those negative thoughts, because they can take you on a highway of garbage if you allow one thought to just turn into trash your whole day.
Yeah.
One little thing can just take you all the way off, especially when you're like us. You're an analytical, critical thinking, creative type. Your brain just goes off.
Does.
So rock and roll. Keep it positive, people. Have a great week.
Right.
Matt, as always, my good friend. Tear it up. Follow on official Matt Tech Instagram. We do all the replays. All the replays are up there, and clips. And it's an easy way to message Matt, get in touch. We'll be launching the group. The group's actually up. Go sign up for the group.
Yeah.
While you're on the Instagram. But we do have a plan coming for that. We've just been dropping Moabs. And also, you've been busy building the team, which is beautiful. So rock and roll, people. We'll talk soon.